Number 5, we have really unhealthy attitudes towards sex. She says, quote, I've lost friends over my promiscuity, even though I've never slept with anyone they knew. I've had guys go psycho over the number I've had. I've had people who barely know me tell me to get tested upon hearing my number. This isn't healthy, polite, or acceptable in any way. Sex is a natural part of life. We have to stop shaming one another over it. So you've lost friends over your promiscuity, even though you've never slept with anyone they knew. That's BS, guys. That's 100% BS. She's lying. She lost friends because she slept with her friends' boyfriends. Right? Girls don't stop being friends with other girls because they're promiscuous. They stop being friends with other girls because they flirt with their boyfriends, because they flirt with their husbands, or they actually sleep with their boyfriends or husbands. She is flat out lying, guys. Otherwise, she wouldn't have said, I never slept with anyone I knew, because she knows that the only reason promiscuous behavior costs you friendships is because you've slept with said friends, significant others. Then she says, well, people freak out and tell me to get tested upon hearing my number. This isn't healthy, polite, or acceptable. If people are telling her to get tested, she has banged at least 500 dudes, man. I'm here to tell you. Number 1, it is healthy for you to get tested so you don't spread your turbo AIDS, gonorrhea, herpes around. And number 2, asking a person to get tested isn't supposed to be polite. It's supposed to be straightforward. And number 3, it is definitely acceptable. Like, honestly, think about the conversation. How many guys have you slept with? That's 673. Wow. You need to get tested. How rude of you. Yes, gentlemen, sex is a natural part of life when done the way it's supposed to be done, which is not with every single dude you're associated with. She wants to stop being shamed for being promiscuous so she can feel better about being promiscuous. Number 6, a promiscuous person can usually tell if you're experienced. It's funny, she keeps saying person, as if promiscuous men are the same as promiscuous women. It is not the same. Anyway, she says it's true. Sorry, not sorry. I can tell who's had a lot of sex in their lifetime because they tend to have different attitude towards sex. A promiscuous person can tell. So now she's accusing the guy of sleeping with a bunch of women, knowing it's not the same thing as a woman sleeping with a bunch of men, right? It's not the same as knowing she's been ran through, but because he's sleeping on, so because he's a hoe, he knows you're a hoe. No, sweetheart. Dudes can tell you've been passed around because you can make him blow his load in 30 seconds or less using any hole on your body. A person's attitude towards sex has nothing to do with their experience. Listen, she just added this because a couple of dudes told her, damn, I can tell you slept with I can tell you've had a lot of dudes between your legs. Number 7. Oh, this is a good one. Having a lot of sex, doesn't make you any better or worse than anyone else. She says, quote, do some people have high numbers? Do some people who have high numbers have issues they need to solve? Absolutely. But for every promiscuous person with issues, there's another person who just went through a wild phase or has certain kinks they enjoy. You cannot put promiscuity in a box. She keeps saying people. Guys, this is the problem. This is the problem. Women conflating male promiscuity with female. Listen, men who sleep around with a lot of women are not the same thing as women who sleep around with a lot of men. Anyway. So it doesn't make you a better or worse person than anyone else. Who's she trying to convince? Us or herself? Sexually promiscuous women, guys, are women with serious character flaws. Any woman who's been with a lot of men, they got to be liars. They have to deceive. They have to mislead. They have to be devious. They've got to be diabolical. So yes, they are worse people. Nobody trusts a woman who's given her body to 500 dudes. One way or another, she is going to screw you over. Now, as far as issues go, sweetheart, that's your problem. Listen, I'm sorry you have daddy issues, right? I'm sorry you lost your virginity at 13 years old because you're looking for a man to fill that hole, and he filled a lot of holes is not the one that you needed, right? But what do you want me to do? Feel sorry for you? You don't feel sorry for guys you've cheated on, do you? Of course not. Yes, you can put promiscuity in a box. There is only one definition of promiscuity. If you sleep with a lot of men, then you are promiscuous. That's it. She wants to make it, her number is so high, she wants to believe that she is still just like everyone else who has a healthy sexual appetite. Wanting to have sex Wanting to have a lot of sex doesn't make you a hoe, okay? Not having the temperance to refrain from having a lot of sex with a lot of dudes, that's what makes you a hoe. Let's move to number 8. Oh, this one is so funny. A lot of people envy us later on. She says, quote, I've had talks with people who are in their 60s and 70s, and many of them mention that they regret not sowing their wild oats in their younger years. If you want to do it, do it. Oh my God, this chick is delusional. Get my new ebook absolutely free. Just subscribe to my newsletter at donovansharpe.com/newsletter. The link is in the description. She 100% knows this isn't true. She's trying to make herself feel better. Oh, listen, all she has to do, guys, is talk to her fellow writer, Amy Horton. That's all she has to do. Now, she also says, again, she keeps saying people, which includes men and women. You see how she consistently tries to hold men and women to the same sexual standard? Now, as far as her conversations were concerned, if they happened at all of the men she talked to are regretful because they're men, and only men can sow their wild oats. But women in their 60s and 70s who have slept around are 100% regretful. And if they say they're not, they're lying. And speaking of lying, guys, she is also lying about having these conversations. She never had conversations with these people. When does a 20-something-year-old party girl have many when does she have time to have many conversations with men and women in their 60s and 70s? Get out of here with that. You see, here's the thing, guys. Women always do this to make their point. They always lie. They lie about an anecdote to win whatever argument they're in. Well, you're wrong, because I've had 6 dozen men tell me that they prefer women who have slept with 100 men to be their wives instead of virgins. Yeah, sure you have. Number 9, slut shaming happens, and it comes from people you'd never expect. I've been slut shamed by doctors, she said, priests, and even my then boyfriend's parents. Anyone who has the nerve to remark on the number of partners a woman has should have no right to be in her life, and the sooner you make that clear, the better off you will be. She's lying again here, guys. Flat out lies. Doctors don't shame women for sleeping around. They advise them to have safe sex. 100% BS out of her. Priests definitely don't shame women for sleeping around because they tell you that Jesus loves you no matter what. Now do 10 Hail Marys and 20 Our Fathers. Now, maybe the boyfriend's parents thing is true, but they didn't just do it flat out, right? They probably implied it and said something like, hey, listen, are you ready to settle down with Mike? I mean, you've had a lot of boyfriends. But they never just flat out say, you're too promiscuous for our son, you harlot, you tart, you floozy. What Miss Teppenhart is doing here, she is covering for the people who do the most shaming, which is women. Women, by far and away, do the very most slut shaming. But because she's a woman, she can't say, well, why do women shame me for sleeping with a lot of guys? Because she needs to protect the sisterhood uber alles, as Rollo Tomasi likes to call it. So she makes up lies about doctors and priests shaming her. OMG, I got shamed by my professor. No, you didn't. And you know it. Number 10. Slut shaming happens, and it happens to people you'd never expect. This is just too funny. I've been slut shamed when I was a virgin. I've been called a whore for having big boobs. After a while, I decided I had nothing to lose by actually enjoying myself since I was going to be called promiscuous either way. I have no regrets about this decision. Gentlemen, Ossiana Teppenhart again lying through her teeth. Virgins get shamed for sleeping around. Let me say that again. A virgin getting shamed for sleeping around, but they're virgins. Dude, get the hell out of here with that. God, listen, this girl's a liar, guys. And again, I just got done saying that a woman who sleeps around has to be a liar. She's got to be deceitful. She's got to be diabolical. That's how you navigate that lifestyle. I have never, ever, ever heard a virgin getting shamed for sleeping around. That's like someone calling an alcoholic who's never had a drink before. It's like calling someone stupid if they've got a PhD in astrophysics. It's like calling someone obese when they're anorexic. It makes zero sense. Guys, she is making this up to give herself the excuse to be promiscuous. Well, they're going to shame me for sleeping around. So I may as well sleep around. No, sweetie, you wanted to sleep around, so that's what you did. It's that simple. Don't blame it on anyone but yourself. People always say that you're responsible for your actions and your station in life, but this chick is blaming other people for her bad decisions. I'm a hoe because people called me a hoe, so I may as well be a hoe. That's BS. People don't call you promiscuous if you're not promiscuous. You do have regrets about that decision. That's why you're blaming people for the choice you made to sleep around.